Hi, and welcome to my life in sunny Central Texas. It is Monday, so it's time for martial arts. My stomach is noticeably better. I had another moment of getting off the couch without sound effects for my knees again. The sound effects don't bother me as much as the fact that there's usually pain related. I could live without the pain. My knees could pop and creak and make all kinds of racket if it didn't hurt. But that kind of stuff reminds me to go take my collagen supplement. Yay. I tried it in my coffee yesterday. It pretty much just ruined a cup of coffee. I still drank it, but it was horrible. Now, I take a few things that are brain specific, like B6 is good for brain tissue health. I can't remember which video I found that in because I watched so many. And the NAC N-acetylcysteine that Dr. Berry has suggested more than once because it helps promote body what do they call it? Reconstitution, body something. It helps in the autophagy process when you're taking old cells that you don't need apart and making new ones. And I kind of halfway want to say recombination, but I'd probably get the word wrong or something. But it is probably one of the reasons that I do not have just great huge folds of loose skin everywhere except here. But yeah, I was out of the B6. I'm a little older, so I usually use CoQ10 too. Coenzyme Q10. And I actually found a list. Apparently, most of the time, the ones that are like in the grocery store and stuff, it's like you take it and it gets. I want to say your body has to convert it like 2 different times to do different things with it to get to the point that you're actually using it for what you intend it for. It's supposed to help energy levels as you're getting older and your production of CoQ10 goes down. Well, I found one that claims to only need converted once, saving your body the work. And for some things, converting something is work. If you take the precursors of vitamin D, because it's labeled as D in your multivitamin, so it must be okay, it must be D, it must make you healthy, right? Well, no, you still have to convert it. Not everyone converts things adequately well, if at all. Now, some things you take will affect things, they will do what you want, but then they will affect things that are downstream. If you take melatonin to go to sleep, well, then your body is going to think, why make any? Melatonin is upstream of that is tryptophan, which a lot of people go, oh, I don't eat turkey, I don't want to be asleep right afterwards. Well, your body has to do things with the tryptophan before it becomes melatonin. But it is enough of a precursor that it might help with melatonin production if you need a little boost to that. People love suggesting melatonin. Oh, you can't sleep? You should try taking melatonin. None of you want to continue to be able to make your own. Oh, but you don't have to because you can get it. It's everywhere. It's in every grocery store and drugstore. And it's also in supplements you might be taking for other things. Oh, this will relax you and then you can go to sleep. Or this is a I'm trying to think what they called it. There are things that are supposed to help you burn off extra ounces of body fat. Oh, this does it while you're asleep, and it includes the melatonin to help you get to sleep. I never did finish taking that one. I was like, oh, just try it for a little while, you'll like it. No. I tried it, it didn't make much difference because I was fine at making my own melatonin. Well, you must take vitamin C if you're on carnivore diet. No, I mustn't. Meat has some small, nanograms instead of milligrams amount of vitamin C. And since I'm not eating all that nonsense that you need more vitamin C in milligram measures to make up for the damage that stuff is doing to you, the carbohydrates, guess what? The nanograms in the meat are plenty. Oh, I saw something spelled out on the back of a pickup truck rear window on the way down to my class today. It said simply, dirty hands, clean money. So all those politicians in their tailored suits and expensive Italian shoes, if you're too good to shake an oilman's hand or a truck driver's hand or a plumber or anybody because you're too busy writing the laws that excuse you and your buddies for doing things that are a crime for anyone else, like insider trading and stuff like that, then you're a crap human. If you're human. I'm not gonna call out worse than that because too many members of Congress do exactly what I just described and become billionaires while the rest of us are really working hard. Right here where I'm sitting, there's some linemen. I can see the bucket truck from here. They're working on something. Cones are set out to guide the traffic around where they're working. They're working honest work. And they shouldn't have to be supporting someone else's wallet when they do. Oh, sweet. A birdie just flew by with a twig in her mouth. Or his mouth. They're nesting. It's that time of year. Now, there's still a few bluebonnets in my area. I saw them when I got on the tollway. Where, by the way, Austin rent fence truck with trailer hauling butt southward. Tailgating is not cool. I don't care if you want to go 90 just because it's an 80-mile-an-hour zone. 80 miles an hour means it's 80 miles an hour. So being so close behind my vehicle that all I can see is your hood, You ain't right, son. You ain't right. And you will be causing an accident and getting the idiot prize. The handicap parking placard. Because I'm sure the day will come when you will plow into somebody. And yes, I said the name correctly. Austin Rent Fence. It didn't say Rent-A Fence. That's a different company. Oh, my blueberries are starting to change color. And my skinny little avocado seedling, it's not a sapling yet. Seriously. But it has a resident little tiny spider. I'll try to get a picture of it or something tomorrow. Or at least it had one today. Generally, spiders don't hurt little bitty plants. They just want to eat the things that come along to check out the little tiny plants. My blueberries are starting to change colors, so those will be enjoyable soon enough. And they might attract a bunny rabbit or two. I've seen bunnies come into my yard before. They might attract neighbors' chickens. Technically, chickens are edible, but for the most part, carnivores tend to get away from it after a time. Oh, there's that bucket truck. The bucket's lifted way up, and there's a man in there, and he seems to be taking care of the street lights. And it is bright enough right now that the one nearest me and the next one up are on. And the one the one next to these first two is off. And the one the man is working on is off, and the one past it is on. So it just may be time to change bulbs in a bunch of these. I've been a little achy in my finger. And I haven't decided yet if it's the connective tissues or the muscles. I did not go to class Tuesday morning. Not Tuesday. I did not go to class Saturday morning. But I'm here today. And since it is the later end of the day, it's almost 6 o'clock. It's 5 minutes till. So if I had sailed straight on by, I could have gone and got an iced coffee or something. I don't need one. Loki and I had lunch a little bit late because it took a while to decide what we were going to have. What I do need to do, possibly, is go to the store after class. And look for some of the smaller cuts of beef. I could take a roast and I could just slice across it a few times and make little slabs of meat that I can sear in the skillet or put on the grill. At some point, I have to take what's currently an empty propane cylinder and get it done. I did finally get my oil change in this vehicle. I need to fill the gas tank. I can do that at the pumps over at the grocery store. Or I can check Gas Buddy. Handy webpage that. I can find out who's got the cheapest gas in the area. And then decide if it's worth going out of my way to. I mean, they may just be over here on Lewis Henna. But some places get a little bit of a history. A while back here in Austin, somebody caught something on their phone because they knew it would happen because it had been happening. Basically, you didn't even have to start the pump. You would select the gas you wanted and it would go up a penny immediately. Basically, people were being robbed of an extra penny on the bill, which may not seem like much, but when you do it to every customer that comes to your business every day for weeks on end, that's a lot of money. They had no business doing that, and people started catching it on their phone. And they alerted the news channels to it. Now, typically, the news will be on the side of whoever's big and whoever advertises the most. But their minds went just where mine did in remembering about how many people have to stop and get gas. Basically, anyone who's driving. Doesn't matter if it's your family vehicle or your small business owns a vehicle or whatever. If you're cheating everybody, even in a small amount, then nobody can trust you. I'm already at Shalindo. That's the building back there behind me. And yes, I've been watching the lovely children arrive. One of the teenagers referred to the little ones as scary murder children. They're not that scary. I gotta say, I was looking for something briefly today because I was placing an order on Amazon anyway. And I didn't find what I wanted. The only tonfa I found, my dad would call them monadnocks. He's different generation, different different training. But that's what he called his. And it's a side-handled baton. And of course, there are places that would not want anyone to have them. Seriously, there are places who would not want me to have a bow staff, 2 swords, 2 daggers, and some steel and fabric fans either. But too bad for them. I'm not there, and they aren't me. So I've got stuff in my bag. And that doesn't touch on the stuff I've got that's not blunted for classes. I've got some beautiful examples, some museum quality replicas. Actually, you can shop museum replicas for this stuff. I've got a gorgeous Skindoo. I hope I'm saying it right. It's the Scottish blade. It's got one edge that's not sharp and one edge that is. But for the most part, it's... Let's see, the spine makes it a triangular hole. Because there's a width there that makes it worse. And a long dirk. A long dirk is a good something to have mounted, strapped, or held inside your shield or buckler in case your sword gets ruined or knocked out of your hand. Then you've got something that you can... It's right there. You grab it and it has a little length. So if you're too close to somebody, boom, get them. I'm not training in European arts, but that's the use of a long dark. It's not a steak knife. But, beautiful pieces, and I'm glad I have them. And there's some throwing knives and a few other fun things in my arsenal. But everybody's got to have hobbies. Everybody got to have hobbies. Hobbies should not include being a Charlie Foxtrot in traffic. Like the Austin Rent Fence truck. I mean, I was doing the speed limit, and that was enough to get around the vehicle I was passing. But I moved over when it was reasonable to do so, and they go walking off like I'm standing still. Can you say speeding? Some people just don't get it. This morning I did take my other Searle products, not just collagen. I'm still using the Stem Enhance Ultra and the Plasma Flow. Lord only knows how these 3 products are helping me, but I feel like they are. And I'm not a affiliate team member yet. I've been considering it. I know that semi-retired Bob is. So there's a link on his channel. And Bart K is. And Edward Goecki, he is also. But the most important thing is they make the science available. They will tell what they do. I mean, they don't give all the steps to their, this is how we untoxify something. Because a lot of things are quite toxic. And there are people who, they think they can just strain out whatever algae, blue-green or otherwise, and put it in a capsule, dry it out, make sure it's powdered nicely, and sell it to you. Considering algal blooms, I think is the way it's spelled, ALGAL. Anyway, it can be quite the thing. You don't want to be taking in plant matter you're unsure of. This company used to be a different company, and there was somebody else involved. Somebody who thought that if they changed the formula not to include the specific stuff people are buying it for, the cyanobacter lake algae, or not even algae, this is cyanobacter. It's not sure yet if it's an algae or a critter. It's got symptoms of both. But it's just one of those halfway steps that got isolated in a lake somewhere when everything else in the primordial goo was changing. And it was fine where it was at, so it stayed there. Or God decided, hey, people are going to need this. Take your pick. I don't care. I believe God's days do not necessarily resemble ours, and God exists outside of time. So God's days don't have to resemble ours. It's too much stretch for some people's heads. But this particular cyanobacter, which resides in a lake and can probably be propagated to live in a controlled environment, I do not know for sure. But if it lives and propagates and makes more of itself, fine and dandy. But testing has proven that somewhere around the 48-minute mark after taking some, and this comes with the protein that cuts the bond that keeps stem cells in your bone marrow until triggered. It comes with the protein that triggers release. I don't know. It's like 48 minutes after, or maybe the 48 is the percent of how much more stem cells you get from using this regularly. But use it I do. And I feel better. It might have something to do with me not having the sound effects. The collagen might have something to do with me not having the sound effects. And the plasma flow might be helping both of those work. I don't know. I can say I don't know because it's not my science. I have not seen the little birdie come back that flew that way with a twig. So probably nest building off in this row of trees off to the north of me, I guess. No, that's to the east of me. Because west is that way. So that'll be east. North is not exactly along the road. It is 10 after 6. Time to get my stuff together and go inside. So, back around to the usual stuff. Grandma loves you. Don't be a Charlie Foxtrot in traffic. Don't cause a cluster Foxtrot in traffic. And be decent. Eat something healthy. Do something healthy. I'm going to go in here and try not to trip over my own feet. I will tell you, there is nothing like having any amount of a stroke to find out how easy it is to do exactly that. Uneven pavement is usually my biggest problem, but that's alright. This is all less than 20 years old, so I'm pretty safe crossing the pavement here. Until I come out afterwards, because I'll be a little tired then. I read a book to a kid. I'm going to start reading some books on video. So if you need a borrowed grandma, you can ask me for a link. I will give you whichever book I read recently on video. I'll give you the link to that. Put a headset on your kid if you don't want to hear about Thomas the Tank Engine or the Velveteen Rabbit. I don't know. But I really want my ability to enjoy reading back. So I'll start the way I used to. I'll read what I can. Children's stories are a good way to start. I just don't see comic books being something to read to kids on YouTube. I have a lot of books. And anyone who's interested in stuff I've read in more recent decades, I think Ender's Game is awesome. I liked it before it was a movie. I think Dune is awesome. I liked it before it was a movie. I liked it before it was a lot of movies. I also like, I'm trying to think of them now. I've got so many likes and dislikes. Time travel books. For a time, I was at a school that had a pretty good selection of juvenile science fiction. And that was right when I needed it. Some of it's awful, seriously, but that's okay. What might not be as suitable for an adult might be right up your alley when you're 10. My grandson and I got on the habit of, we got on the topic of snakes recently. I told him about a book titled For Love of Mother Not. Can you imagine having a pet snake that's somewhat telepathic and has wings and it comes from an alien planet? Well, it's a future set sci-fi. And young man, his brain is quite attuned to whatever wavelength the snake was on. Made friends with it. And I was telling him about this story just a little bit. I wanted to hook him. I wound up buying him a download. Kids need good books. But I hope he likes it. There's a whole set following that, and some of them are not quite as interesting, but that first one is a good hook. So y'all, do something, read something, say something nice to somebody. That's actually good for your own mental health. If you can find it in yourself to compliment somebody. You're going in the grocery store, you see someone you know and they're looking good, you tell them they're looking good. You see someone you don't know and they're looking good, you can tell them they're looking good. Grandma does it all the time. Sometimes people look at what I'm buying and they ask, what do you use this for? And I'll tell them, I'll say, it's, most recently somebody noticed the cheese I had. It was a Cabot brand. Habanero cheddar. I don't eat a lot of cheese, but I like it with habaneros in it. What's all over Texas? Cheese with jalapenos in it. Okay, jalapenos are okay, but they have their place. And it's not my cheddar. The Cabot habanero cheese, that is pretty darn good. You might prefer it with crackers or something, if you still eat those. But the habanero cheese is pretty good. I eat it straight. I don't know what brand my dad had, but I first tried some habanero cheese at his house. I really need to get up there. I haven't seen him in a while. Every now and then I lose track of him because he goes off on vacation. He likes to go back to Thailand. Southeast Asia was a whole lot more pleasant, I guess, when there's not a war going on. But, he's got some friends over there. So he goes back and spends some time. And then one of my cousins freaked out about the same time I noticed I haven't seen Dad online in a bit. So I scrolled through stuff, and didn't see any posts, and got hold of my sister and asked her what was up. And he had gone off to Thailand for another vacation. At his age, you should do what you want and you should feel pretty good doing it. As long as he feels good, he should feel good doing it. He should feel good going off to Thailand or wherever he wants to go. I'd like to go to Thailand one day. I think that would be pretty cool. Oh well, like I said, time to get in there. Y'all take care of each other. Be nice. Be nice in traffic. Read something, eat something delicious and healthy. A little tickle right along here. Yeah, I'm using my Benadryl. And I'm wondering if I maybe burned a little bit recently. Not much, just a little fleck of dryness on my skin. Oh well. Not very important. But what is important is getting on with life. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.